Okay, financial pressure. You've covered this a little bit before. Requirement of excessive financial contributions, significant punishments for not contributing. How would you summarize whether or not and how, if so, this manifests in the trans community?
Yeah, so earlier I talked about how, like, if there was like a trans owned Etsy store or something, then people would
Mhm.
be encouraged to choose someone who needs the money more than someone who might not need it as much. But as I'm as this sort of category comes up, there's also quite a few trans people are doing like GoFundMe's and crowdfunding very
Mm.
frequently.
I hate living, but death and love and birth and peace and war on planet. Is there anything that's worth
Hey y'all, it's Achilles. It's day 18 of sharing fun animal facts to try and raise money for top surgery. GoFundMe's in my bio.
And I do know that there were spaces on Tumblr, for example, where people would be guilted if they had money and didn't give them to the people that they felt were like the most needy. So there was a lot of pressure to donate to a trans woman of color's fund to either move or get surgery or whatever. And a lot of it did have to do with identity. So it was a lot of pressure on choosing specific people over other people.
So you had to give money, but it had to be given in an ideological way that would garnish the most virtue in terms of if it was done. How would they know if somebody didn't? Like, is there policing of who donated and who didn't? Or is that advertised? Like, you had to provide your receipts by, if you donated to a GoFundMe, then I think there might be like a share link at the end that you can prove that you donated, or how did it work?
I've never been in that sort of situation where someone's like demanding receipts to make sure that you've done it. I think it was mostly like guilting so that they were relying on the guilt to force you into it.
Okay.
But there was also guilt given to people who didn't share the link basically to the GoFundMe. Like if you
Oh.
can't donate, then you should at least share the link sort of thing. I did see people getting nasty over not sharing links basically like you're not doing enough to try and help
Mhm.
this person, that sort of thing.
How common are we seeing the way that people pay for medicalization through crowdfunding? I feel like I'm seeing that more frequently now, but maybe your experience is different.
I think it's always been like one of the main ways that people are doing it, especially
Mm.
because I think in the US, especially because it's all privatized.
Okay. So that's
When
been pretty prevalent the whole time?
Yeah, at one point, I don't know what the number is now, but at one point there were 40,000 fundraisers for top surgery on GoFundMe.
So we talked about pressure to donate to people who are looking for assistance and how that can be done along hierarchies. You mentioned before about when somebody public comes out against the ideology that you can punish them through not reading their books or anything. So it seems like there's like a boycott element to this as well that might fall under this category. Does
Yes.
that go so far as to say that if you were discovered to have a copy of Harry Potter on your bookshelf, that would be counted against you in certain levels of activism?
Depends on the person, but yeah, I think it would. In fact, I removed the Harry Potter series from my house at that time. It's at my parents' cottage, so like I didn't get rid of all of the books, but like I took them out of my house and the movies. That was like one of the actions that I took essentially was to take those things out of my house as almost like a commitment. But I don't know if anyone was going to hunt me down over it. Yeah.
But it meant something to you just in your own internal sense of yourself. It's so interesting that the Harry Potter fandom itself, because I feel like before she came publicly against this within the trans community, within the gender ideology community, because the stories of Harry Potter tended to be like, this is somebody who was on the margins, who was downtrodden, but was himself something unique and special and had to learn that about himself and grow and develop. It seemed like that story resonated with a lot of people who had the same vulnerabilities and the same trials and troubles that found them in the trans community themselves. And so there was a lot of community. I think there were a couple of online influencers who found themselves as, I am the kind of the trans Harry Potter, where you'll find discussion about both of those things because they're both a really strong, important part of it. And then J.K. Rowling comes out with this, and it almost has the potential to create a division within the community. Where was it easy for people to let go of Harry Potter, or was it, you saw people with tattoos probably who felt regret over having those tattoos if they were Harry Potter tattoos, if they were in the trans community?
Oh yeah, I know people personally. Yeah, but it's very interesting the way that it's gone. I wasn't really in the fandom. I was on the outside observing it, even though I am a fan. But there's sort of two ways people have gone, in which is either they just completely ignore what she said about trans stuff altogether, and they just enjoy Harry Potter for what it is, and they don't really think about it. And then there's like that other side that is very social justice oriented. And then actually there's two sort of sides of that too, of that sort of community, where there's one side that's sort of leaning on this death of the author vibe, where we're going to disconnect her from it entirely, and we just enjoy the art for what it is. And then there's the other side that's, nope, you have to cut yourself off from it entirely, and you can't have it in your house, and can't watch it, you can't play the video games, you can't do anything that gives her money. Sort of, there's that sort of two sides of it as well, of the people who are reluctant to give it up and the people who think that it's your moral obligation to give it up.
So if you are serious about standing up to JK's actions and supporting the trans people who are affected by her negative rhetoric, don't watch Fantastic Beasts 3. Don't buy Hogwarts Legacy. Don't even buy Lego Harry Potter, because supporting anything tied to this franchise is paying J.K. Rowling and giving off the idea that we want more of this franchise that is rooted in bigotry. I don't know how many times I have to say that. It sucks, but it's true. But now is the time where I stop making this silly little video and you get to decide what you're going to do moving forward. Are you going to buy the Harry Potter game and play it in secret? Or are you going to watch this movie and then fight with people on Twitter about how good it was? I don't know. It's up to you now. Like, I've done my part in giving you the information, but now you get to decide how you're going to move forward knowing what I've told you.
Okay, so what do you think? Financial pressure. You described some elements of it. How big of a footprint did it leave on your existence when you were there?
I think mild.
Okay.
Yeah.